like to first invite Shri Kiran Vadlamani ji, my mentor, my boss, the founder of INDICA, NICE, and many other initiatives, who is the driving force behind these initiatives aimed at preserving and promoting Indic knowledge and cultural traditions. Please, sir, please go ahead.
Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. A very, very warm welcome to all of you who are participating in today's symposium on Vedic spirituality. At INDICA, we have been exploring various themes over the last several years. In fact, our very first in-person conference started with Vedic mindfulness. And this was probably in 2019, early 2019. So after 3 years and after more than 20 conferences and 10 symposiums, where we have explored very, very unique topics. Towards the end of this year, the last event for this year, we have sort of come back to a full cycle, so to speak, on Vedic spirituality. I thank Nitin for curating the concept note, and an excellent panel of speakers, starting with Swamini ji, and we have Dushyant, we have various very, very excellent speakers. I also see my friend Rajshri Nandi speaking to us later today. And very, very happy with the kind of response that we have got with various speakers. There's a new open AI that has come. So like Nitin was struggling with this, what is spirituality and what is definition and all that. And he, in his concept note, he was talking about so many definitions. So I went and typed to the chatbot, chat API, I think, and said, explain spiritual but not religious to me. And then it gave a brief meaning. And I want to, this is the actual latest one. This is AI definition. The term spiritual but not religious is used to describe people who have a sense of spirituality but do not identify with any specific religious tradition or institution. These individuals may have a belief in a higher power or a sense of connection to something greater than themselves, but they do not follow the practices or beliefs of any particular religion. Instead, they may seek spiritual fulfillment through personal experiences such as meditation, mindfulness, or other forms of self-expression. People who are spiritual but not religious may view spirituality as a more personal and individualized experience rather than something that is prescribed by a particular religion. They may also have a more open and inclusive approach to spirituality, embracing a variety of different beliefs and practices rather than adhering to a strict doctrine of specific religion. This is the latest as per the chat. This is a topic that has been a personal inquiry for me, because as an activist in this field of preserving, protecting, and promoting Indic knowledge, heritage, and our cultural heritage, I have been observing the various dimensions of how our spirituality has been absorbed, digested, appropriated by the world at large. And the trend towards taking our wisdom and not acknowledging it, that has already been documented by several scholars, And this is a particular topic to me of interest. If you look at the latest research by Pew in the US, they predict the religious demography of US. At 1972, the US was 90% Christian. In 2020, it is 64%. Koti, can you mute everybody? Yeah. In 2020, it was 64%. They expect that by 2070, in another 50 years, it will be 34%. This is one. In the UK, the current fastest growing segment, they had recently did the census, and they released the census a couple of weeks back. The UK is already less than 50%. It is only 47% Christian. And the fastest growing demographic is non-religious, and that is almost now 30%, 27 to 30%. So these are the global trends that we are seeing, that people are moving away from their own religious faith that they were born into. This is one trend. There is another trend of meditation, yoga, mindfulness, environmentalism, paganism, polytheism. There's another trend that is emerging. And all these are intersecting into this category called spiritual but not religious. This philosophical inquiry into the meaning of life, the purpose of life, of existence, of reality, it started, as per Bertrand Russell, in the 6th century BCE with the Greek philosophers. And he says philosophy is distinct from theology. But I was speaking to my colleague, Edward Butler, who is the director of Center for Global Polities and Indigenous Traditions. And it surprised me that the Greek philosophers who inquired about morality, who inquired about justice, who inquired about the righteousness, they were all pious. Piety was integral to them. So the question is, can you inquire about the meaning of life, the goal of life, the morality, the purpose of life, the reality, the search for reality, staying within your tradition? It appears to me that the dharmic traditions or the pluralistic traditions or the non-exclusivist traditions do not have a problem. They do not have this problem of having to disown your religion and say, I am spiritual but not religious, in order for them to inquire about the purpose of life and the meaning of life. But the Western narrative has a certain dominance, has a certain hegemony, so to speak. So we have a very, very famous neuroscientist, a person who is very, very a liberal, who is, he's a highly acclaimed intellectual, who is into also psychedelic drugs and who is also into meditation, mindfulness. His name is Sam Harris. Most of you would have heard about him. He has written a book, Waking Up, Spirituality Without Religion. An explicit purpose of saying that I'm spiritual and there is no religion. And I had my former colleague, Dennis White. I requested him to read that book and write a review. I will share the link in the due course in the chat box for you to read that review. If you read that review and if you chance to read that book, if you ever get a chance to read that book, you will understand the kind of confusion they have. You'll realize the kind of arrogance they have. You'll realize the kind of laziness they have. He simply doesn't want to make an effort to understand. He doesn't understand what is consciousness. He doesn't understand the distinction between Buddhist philosophy and Advaita. He has the gumption to say, purists will insist on the important difference amongst various schools of Buddhism in the tradition of Advaita Vedanta developed by Shankara. Although I touch upon these differences, I do not make much of them. I consider the differences to be generally a matter of emphasis, semantics, and irrelevant metaphysics, and too esoteric to be of interest to the general reader. He's in a hurry. And he says, I don't have patience. I'm in a hurry. And this is the kind of approach that he has taken. I'll finish in a few minutes, Nitin. I just want to leave with you one thought. Why did we have this Vedic as an adjective, as a lakshana to spirituality? What is this Vedic spirituality? I was listening to Swami Paramarthananda's talk on Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma, where he talks about and gives an example of blue book and a moon. And he puts a difference of the kind of attributes or the adjectives. And I want to use the same example for Vedic spirituality. Vedic spirituality, the attribute Vedic, first of all, it is a limiting. That means it is a limiting adjective. At the same time, I posit to you, and I wish you consider it, it's a defining attribute. So simultaneously, you are saying, okay, you understand there is something called spirituality. There's a Western spirituality, there's a Buddhist spirituality, there's all kinds of spirituality. There's so many spiritual things. You don't know which is which. But I am defining it and I'm limiting it and saying, calling it Vedic spirituality. But at the same time, I posit to you that spirituality is only Vedic spirituality. So please reflect on this, because the purpose of spirituality, the moksha marga, is very, very clearly embedded in our religion. It is, you cannot remove it. It's embedded. The goal is moksha. And we have a very, very structured syllabus. We have a defined path, gnana, and we have a preparatory paths of upasana and karma. And across the spectrum of all these paths, we have bhakti and shraddha. So therefore, for us, there cannot be a concept called spiritual but not religious. We are spiritual, therefore religious. And with these few thoughts, I welcome Swamini Swatma Vidyananda to please address us and give her blessings for this event. And I thank all the speakers and I thank all the participants for participating in this symposium. Thank you.
Thank you, Hariji, for the wonderful opening remarks that clearly sets today's agenda.